what do you want to see? What do you want to see change for teachers, for moms, for working moms, and in general for everyone in the district that you're running?
Yeah, I want to see a focus on working families, and I don't feel like we've had that. We've had a lot of political football, especially during this pandemic, where I actually left my teaching position to focus full time on this campaign, which is an incredibly difficult decision for me to make. But I know how I say this to everyone who will listen. It's in my ad. I think about, what I can do for kids who are in my classroom, but I know I can do so much more for them as a senator who's going to fight for equitable funding for our schools so that kids in the suburbs and kids in the city have an equal opportunity for an excellent education. And unfortunately, that's not happening. To finally get some relief for property taxes for our seniors, I'm so tired of hearing these incumbents talk about how they're going to fix property taxes, but then they don't fund our schools. Why do you think your taxes keep going up? Because your schools don't have enough money to maintain staffing, for supplies, for technology. The world is changing so quickly. We're asking our teachers to, I know last year I spent over $2,000 of my own money just on supplies and storage and things to make my classroom a livable, workable space. And it was tough for our family. But there are teachers who can't do that. Most teachers can't do that. Teachers don't get paid that much. And that's public education. I know people say you can't solve all problems by throwing money at them. You're right, but we can be a lot more strategic about the way that we are using the money that we have. And there are districts who have a lot, but there are a lot of districts who have close to nothing. And it's just not okay that we are neglecting our kids like this. Cyber charter funding is a huge problem, especially this year with so many kids. And honestly, I know districts are offering virtual learning. I understand why parents wanted to go with that model because we're all afraid. My son is in first grade. Our school district went back full-time 5 days a week for elementary students. Middle and high school are not full-time. They're like hybrid. But he was in school for 7 school days before he got a cold. He's COVID negative, but we had to take him to get a test because you can't just have a cold now without, and I'm glad that we got him tested, but I understand why parents are keeping their kids home. If that was an option for us, we probably would have done that. But what that means is all of these students who are leaving to go to cyber charters, their tax dollars go with them. Cyber charters don't have to maintain a brick and mortar school, but they're taking the same amount of money. So this year, our school districts were level funded. That's helpful. But next year, if those kids don't come back, our districts are in crisis mode. They're already in a crisis. I could tell you most school districts around here do not have enough counselors. They are understaffed, especially in a health crisis like we're in right now. And can you imagine how much worse that's going to get when their funding is not increased next year? And so I'm really worried about that because that impacts everyone. I'm really worried about childcare, about working moms like me, and so many people having somewhere safe and of high quality to be able to send their kids so that they can go back to work. And so many childcare centers are closing because their enrollment is way down. Well, if they can't reopen, we have a real problem on our hands. We can't expect people to be in the workforce if there's no one to take care of their children. So, I'm laser focused on how we can help working people not only weather this crisis, but look, let's be honest, a lot of us were in crisis mode already between not being able to afford healthcare, our student loan debt. I mean, most of us millennials, I'm a millennial, and housing, healthcare, and education are 5 times the cost they were for our parents. We were already living through a crisis before COVID. And so, I'm just so focused on solving problems for working families. And I'm really frustrated that that's not happening right now.